Last summer at one of the beaches where you're considering removing lifeguards, I was involved in a rescue with a man who had been hanged under his catamaran at a low tide.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Last summer I was involved in a rescue at one of the beaches where they're considering removing lifeguards. There was a man who had been trapped under his catamaran for half an hour at low tide. Jericho Rescue had brought him into the Jericho Sailing Center, and they needed the lifeguards' help to care for him until the ambulance arrived. It took 30 minutes for the paramedics to arrive. From the time that he came to the sailing center until the ambulance arrived, we treated him for shock, and he was very disoriented and discolored, he had discoloration. We brought him back to a coherent condition, and I would say that if we weren't there, there's a very good chance that he might have lost his life. And so that's really all I come here to say. It's just that I was involved in a rescue where if we weren't there, we might have had death and penalties. So I understand that budgets are difficult things and finding money is a challenging thing. I'm also a filmmaker. I know a lot about the challenges of working on a small budget. But when it comes to safety in people's lives, I think that I think you have to find the money somewhere, somehow. And really, that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
I've got finally the opportunity to speak.
No problem.
I guess I'm wearing two hats this evening. I listened to the CBC this morning. That's when I called and decided to request a seat. The two hats are gardener's hat, which I wear often, and the other one is my beach hat, frequent visitor to Jericho. So dealing with the first one, the gardener's hat. Some of you may know that I was the first director of Van Dusen Gardens. Excuse me. I was there for 24 years, and since I retired in 1996, I've noticed a tremendous increase in the quality of the displays, both there and at the Glodale Conservatory and at in the Quarry Garden as well. So horticulture, I think, is at a very high standard in Vancouver today. Unfortunately, along with this, seems to have gone a decline in the opportunity to maintain properly the more peripheral areas in these parks. If I may refer to Van Dusen Park, the staff are often somewhat frustrated at the fact that they're not able to maintain the whole acreage. So the emphasis on the high display, quality display, tends to go into the high profile areas. And having spent an awful lot of money on new building facilities, it's a little disappointing to see this sort of thing happening. So there's some advocates both for the Van Dusen and for the Glodale Conservatory, both of which probably after Stanley Park could determine the two jewels in the crown. So I'm a little disturbed about the declining opportunity to maintain the areas which were first developed back in the 70s and 80s, and now looking a little ragged in some areas. My second hat is a beach hat, and I know I've not got much time. I've lived in Vancouver for 38 years and raised a family here, and I have grandchildren also, and those two generations have both enjoyed the safety and care of the lifeguards at Jericho for many years. In fact, I can remember my grandchildren at low tide at Jericho going out to the very edge of the sandbanks, right to where the drop-off, as we call it. And I got out there, my grandchildren had found their way out there, and just wading out at low tide. And I was just appalled at it's like looking down into the abyss, really is at low tide. And so there's a real danger there, I think. The distance is to drink. And it's producing lifeguard service at Jericho. They produce a recipe for disaster. And also, of course, at high tide, the nature of the landscape, the beach landscape at Jericho is such that at high tide there's a big drop-off too. So young children are at risk there as well at various times. And so that's what I have to say. And the implications are obvious. I did have one question, however. I'd rather hear that. Go ahead. Who pays for those all-terrain vehicle patrols that run up and down the beach in the summertime? Is that beaches? Well, my observation, the first time I saw that I was rather astonished because it seemed to be a negative influence on the ambience of the beach, all these lovely people laying down sunbathing, and these vehicles weaving in between them up and down the beach. I just wondered what they were doing. Were they watching for nutrients, or were they for suspicious smoke?
Mike's giving us a yes.
The lifeguard is the first line of defense, but I think that's what you need there. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you very much.
One quick question. Which was the beach that you were talking about where this incident happened?
It happened off of Jericho Beach, and there were lifeguards that responded from Jericho, Carmel, and Spanish Banks East, where I was stationed.
And then just a follow-up? Yeah.
Sure.
And how long did it take the lifeguards from Spanish Banks to respond?
I was the guy from Spanish Banks. My supervisor Dave was here. He was the one who sent me, and I was there in 60 seconds or faster. We have a bike that we get on and go. The guard from Ricardo was the first to arrive. I was the second, and the guard from Jericho was the third to arrive.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, there's a one topic here tonight, main topic in general. Jeff Monk. And Brent Clement.
Let's sit with him. I've never met him before. Friends now.
Okay. Yeah. Try me friendly.
That's good or bad?
All right, Jeff. You've got 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Some of my comments were covered, so I'm going to be brief. First point I'd like to make is, in this country, we value life so much that we don't have a death penalty. The thought of killing one innocent person in air is too much. Do you not believe that the innocent lives of Vancouver men, women, and children should not hold the same importance and value as that we bestow on convicted killers? We seem to find the money to house killers for their natural lives, but we seem to have a financial problem providing a lifeguard at a public beach. So, is it my understanding that money is taking precedent over the loss of human life? That's food for thought tonight. Again, I know we talked about the different slopes and sandbars and so on in kids, and I'm a firm believer in thinking, and I have a niece that's 6 years old and she can't swim, but again, she's 6 years old and it is a beach, that there's going to be fatalities if the lifeguards are not there to pull kids out of bad situations that they don't realize they're even getting into because now they have a sandbar and some water's coming in and they're panicking. I know that we addressed how many incidents lifeguards addressed, and that's significant. So I won't cover that again. I think we drilled the point home, and we all get it. The other thing is that the impact if the guards are not there, from both a legal and a bad publicity generated that Vancouver definitely does not need. You know, we had an unfortunate incident regarding the hockey thing, and when all over the news and all my friends in the States called me and got a good laugh, we don't want to hear, you know, an increase in drownings in Vancouver and say, oh God, you guys cut back all the lifeguards. Why don't you do that with all the drownings in the city? I don't think I feel comfortable on your beaches. So that's definitely, again, you know, something that the city doesn't need. And do we need to see any drownings before we decide, we better put the guards back? You know, how many drownings are going to significantly do it to trigger the, we better put the guards back? Even one is too many. And the other thing that I definitely want to say is the lack of lifeguards could result in increased criminal activity. And as we know, we have some criminal activity in the city that's undesirable, including drinking and underage drinking, and disorderly conduct. And one particular one that kind of concerns me is child molestation. And we seem to have every other day in the news of different child molesters that have been released and now reside in Vancouver. And what better of a place to hunt prey other than a beach? And without the eyes of the lifeguards being there, it's going to be a little bit more dangerous for us to let our kids run around quickly on the beach, not knowing who's really on that beach. And just to close the Trout Lake thing, if a place is not safe to be at, sometimes people will want to thrill seek and go into it because they're not allowed to be there. And the whole idea to have a lifeguard there is to make sure that nobody does go in there, so that they don't become a fatality, so they don't become a black eye or Vancouver, so that we are on the ball. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say tonight. Thank you very much.
Last but not least.
You have to stay here, I stay here.
You gotta hang out with this guy. And all of us.
You'll have a timer ready for that.
Oh, really?
Looking for, yeah.
Oh, okay. My name is Brent Kameka. I'm the founder and race director of World Endurance Sport. We stage events all over North America, including Hawaii. Since 1988, we've held over 250 events and about 30,000 athletes across the finish line. The races range in size from 100 people up to 1,000. We've hosted some of the largest triathlons ever. And at every location we're dealing with lifeguards. And as the organizer, we come into places like in Hawaii or Texas, and we work with various organizations, always the local lifeguard society, and we hear all the political issues and the funding everywhere. It's not unique, and now with the situation in the U.S. Being what it is, the budget cuts they're going. But one thing that they just do not seem to go after, and that is cuts with lifeguards. And in reading a couple of the articles about in the Winnipeg Free Press and seeing it, just going to reiterate that without lifeguards at those locations, high-use locations, there will be deaths. It's statistically impossible not to, with the amount of use that the beach has. And there was an incident that we came upon in Lake Chelan in 2005. We arrived when the ambulance and everything was there. There's a 400-meter stretch of beach, which the whole community uses, and they don't have lifeguards. And what had happened is a Mexican family was lying on the beach. One of the children got in trouble. His brother ran out to try to save him. Also got into trouble, so the father jumped in, and all three ended up drowning. And there was 400 or 500 people watching in horror as people ran, dragged them out of the water, tried to resuscitate them, and they just didn't have the capabilities of it. Now the community has decided that they're not going to supply lifeguards, and that's staying that community. From what I understand, there's about 4 or 5 drownings a year just in Chelan, and they have such a small area to deal with. And it's a real black mark for that community. And people, it really does affect it. And for Vancouver, you've got increased property values, so I'm sure taxes are going up. And not only that, there's more people moving to Vancouver all the time. you go down to Jericho Beach or these places that you're thinking of cutting, I mean, it's just ludicrous. The parking lot's full, the beach is full of beachgoers. How they ever came up with the idea to cut back, I mean, you have to start looking at expanding lifeguard facilities, and also you've got a brand new beach where the hangar used to be. That's a beautiful little beach. People are going to be using that beach, and whether you say it's closed to this, that, or the other thing, it doesn't matter. People will use the beach, and as it states in, learning about the Constitution of the city, looking after the residents. That's the Parks Board. That's the civic responsibility. Not just the Parks Board, everybody, the whole community. And to see, the fact that they're going to cut back. I mean, I don't think the public will allow it. Quite frankly, judging by the number of people that came tonight, and this is a Parks Board meeting. I'm sure once it hits City Hall and more people get involved, I don't think people will stand for it. When you start just looking at the statistics, because if someone dies and you've cut back, the blood's on everybody's hands in this room tonight. Anybody who had a possibility of reversing it, it'll be on their hands. And the statistics don't lie, and the lifeguards and everybody here tonight are saying that. You show one place in North America where you can cut back on lifeguards and to save money. I don't know, I'd say let the grass grow a little bit longer and have more lifeguards. But like when the fellow, Mr. Robinson was saying, how they wouldn't even, it sounded like they wouldn't even table or even talk about that discussion. Why it's even here is ridiculous. And so I think the Parks Board, people are going to get a huge backlash from the community if they proceed to cut lifeguards at the beaches. So anyway, thanks and good luck. All right.
Discussion already?
No.
Oh, do we have any
have any
questions?
questions? Any questions?
Any questions, sir?
No questions.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now to discussion. We're going to start the discussion. Commissioner Jasper.
I'm sorry, I just noticed.
I just read about this meeting at 5 o'clock, and I'm just a swimmer. I'm a frequent user of Second Beach Pool. Could I say a few things, just maybe a minute or two?
Yes, please.
My name's Lydia, and I just live over in Northern Buda Block, Manchester. I just wanted to say that I listened to what everybody has said, and I'm in complete agreement with the comments made in support of the lifeguards. I've been a West End resident for 27 years. I've swam at Sunset Beach in the open ocean, a little bit at Kitsilano, but mostly I'm at Second Beach. And my admiration for lifeguards has grown over those years. At first they were just sort of a fixture, but in learning about them and talking to them about them, some of them are paramedics, some of them are firefighters, some of them are in physiotherapy. And at Second Beach, I noticed they have a lot of kids. I've gone in as a swimmer, but I've also gone in as just an observer. I've been interested in just how many kids they have to handle between the school groups, the summer camps, and the public. And my vision isn't very good, but I think the screen said that you were thinking of closing the beach at Second Beach, taking a lifeguard off for July and August. And those are the busiest months, very crowded. And also I wanted to mention that last summer I slipped and fell at Second Beach Pool. And a lifeguard was very attentive, wasn't too busy, so she ran right away to see if I was injured. I wasn't injured then, and I was okay for a week. But after a week I couldn't walk. So thankfully I have a good physiotherapist who I've seen over 17 years. And she got me in shape with relatively few treatments. But she was asking me, as a physiotherapist, was I going to consider a lawsuit because of, she didn't think she could treat me in 10 treatments. And I said, well, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to cause taxpayers to have to pay any more money. Can we just try and fix it the best we can? But when she asked me for paperwork, when the lifeguard asked me, should I file a report, I said, oh, don't do that, don't bother. I didn't want to be a bother to anybody. But fortunately, unfortunately, she did, and when I had to go back and just get dates just to satisfy my own therapist to give her an idea of what we have to work with in getting me better. And you can see I can walk now, but I couldn't walk from my apartment building over here down to Second Beach Pool. But as a result of the lifeguards being attentive, within the first or second physiotherapy appointment, I went back down to the pool, and the guards had already seen to it that they informed their bosses that the things that I had slipped on were changed. And I was really anxious to see that happen, and I would check in with the lifeguards because I wanted to prevent any further injury. So, you know, what happened to me, it's not drowning or anything, but it's again the action of lifeguards in taking preventative measures. And they've been my impromptu swim coach, and I've always felt very safe there because if I needed to run to them for anything, I could. Whether it was, you know, a dangerous situation in the washroom or somebody acting strange, or even the bike injuries that they're fixing. I see them, you know, I'm curious a bit about the injury because there's maybe 2 or 3 lifeguards attending somebody. What was the problem? They're getting an oxygen mask. So I found the lifeguards, I'm just in complete support of the contribution that they make. And just as a frequent swimmer, they're looking out for my interests. They won't, even in the woods, pouring rain over there, I say, go in the hut, don't worry about me, I'm swimming here by myself. And they say, no, we can't do it, we have to be out there watching you. So they're just very dedicated group and very highly competent. And so cutting back in the busiest months of July and August, I don't see really how you can do it. But that's in your hands, and I just wanted to say that much.
Thank you. So we had a few late speaker requests, if they're here. Is Jim Tentamenti here? All right, we'd like to come up. And James Jones. Is James Jones
Did I come up as well?
James Jones?
That's me.
Could I,
That's you?
Jim.
And then there is Andrea Nicholson, is she here? Okay, you'll be after. And then I think we'll just leave it at that because we have to get on.
Sarah, could I get added, I got 15 seconds and that's all I need at the end,
With the board here.
literally.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks.
I'm also registered to speak, are you saying you're going to cut it off?
Allison,
you were going
are
to
you
say.
Allison?
What happened?
I don't know.
I was here.
I don't know.
I was in front row.
She has been doing it the whole time.
Okay, sorry, somehow.
I clapped at the right place.
Of